Dauntless Stark.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of DAUNT Talks, or whatever the hell I wish to call this series in the future. I got the lovely chance to sit down with Mammothplant, the head developer behind Mirrored Soul, and I think the sole creator of it. He was gracious enough to sit down with me for about 30 minutes to talk about the game. Now, I have, in the last few episodes, I've slowly stopped worrying about like the interview section of everything and just kind of like more or less just have like a conversation with him, asking a couple questions about the game, some basic questions, but like questions that I would like to know, like myself. And this is the first time I did it live, and chat was, chat. So it kind of got derailed a little bit here and there, but I digress. I hope you enjoy it nonetheless, and I will see you in the next episode. Sort of DAUNT Talks, or whatever the hell I call this series.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. Our new awesome guest is how do you? I'm not gonna pronounce. I'm gonna fuck up your name. How do you pronounce it?
Mammothplant. I'm just kidding. Mammothplant.
Mammothplant, the developer of Mirrored Soul. Thank you very much for taking time out of your, I am assuming, very busy schedule.
I got so much shit going on.
Yeah. On stream, I recently just finished Mirrored Soul, the game that came out recently. Loved it. 8 out of 10, in my opinion.
Amazing. Honored.
Absolutely. Forgive the minor cough. It kind of ramps up when I stream for a while, and the barking dogs apparently too.
No worries. I'm not gonna fault you for coming down with shit or for owning pets.
Yeah.
Those are two very normal things. Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that. Partner just
No
left.
worries, no worries.
Yeah, they're small dogs. Like they freak out about like random stuff.
Oh shit! You define left, like you mean like y'all split up or?
Oh no, like just like exited the apartment. So
okay, good. I was gonna be like, oh damn, you're trying to fill a void in your heart or something?
No, nothing that crazy.
All right, cool.
But anyway, let's just go into it. I'm gonna ask you some like super generic questions. Let's just take it from there. What made you want to make games to begin with?
That is a good question. I think that desire started when I was around 6 or 7. I feel like every elementary school kid kind of has like a part of themselves that wants to design video games because you're a bunch of snot-nosed little brats who are just obsessed with them. I think it was middle school when I first realized, okay, actually I'm serious about this. I downloaded like RPG Maker, as kids do, and just fucked around in it a little bit, tried to make some small projects. It was my buddy Josue who introduced me to this other RPG making software called, I think, OHRPGCE. He pronounced it Orphage, which I'm pretty sure that's not how it's pronounced, but he would him and I would have like little competitions to make a better RPG. And like we'd show up to school and like compare RPGs and stuff and like fucking have dick measuring contests over who had the better game. And that kind of just, I think that awakened a kind of competitive spark in me. That kind of made me realize, okay, I'm actually very serious about this. I want to do this. I want to design games. It wasn't soon afterwards I discovered I had a penchant for making music as well. So I kind of became like a self-made kind of like game dev. I'm sucking my own dick way too much here. No, I kind of just
No, it's perfectly fine. It's the platform to do so.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's like the curse of the auteur. One gets up his own ass a little bit. No, but I think so in high school, I think I tried to release some commercial projects. I participated in this game jam on this website called Slime Salad, which was a website for people to design their games that they made in, as Josue would say, Orphage. It got 3rd place, and I which I really was not expecting. I was expecting to be placed like 10th or 12th or something, but no, I placed pretty high, and it made me realize, okay, so I can make a game, people can like my games. Maybe I should just fucking do this. And that's a very, very brief TLDR. But yeah, I'd say, to give an even more brief TLDR, to the desire kind of surfaced in childhood, kind of formulated in my teen years, and finally came to fruition in a way my journey's not over yet, but it kind of in a way came to fruition as an adult.
Yeah, it's very admirable, right? As someone who
Thank
is
you.
trying to get into the YouTube sphere myself, I can very much sympathize with that dream and aspiration, right?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
it all starts with you just starting it, right? which
Exactly.
which
Yeah.
often is like the hardest part.
Sure.
Um, so how long did Mirrored Soul take to make from like initial concepts to to official launch on Steam?
Initial concepts, I was 17. That was back in, I believe, 2016. I just I got the idea when I was in the middle of gym class. Actually, I was like, shit, what if I made Soul Hackers,
That's the best time to create
but
new
slightly different? Yeah.
random
Yeah, I
idea.
was like,
I've been there
just
too,
random.
brother. Random ideas that stick with you that are awesome in the middle of a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
boring school class that you
absolutely.
don't give a fuck about. Oh, dude, that's the
Yeah,
prime. That's prime time, baby.
you are speaking my language right now. Yeah, I think the first character I came up with was the character of Spot. Um, I don't think Cecil really formulated until like a little bit later. Like, okay, obviously I wanted Spot to be the sidekick from day one, but I didn't really know what the main character should have been until like I think a little bit later on in development. Um, in trade school, I didn't really attend college formally. I went to trade school. In trade school, I met a few friends and we kind of bonded over this shared. They were the first people I really told about the idea proper. Um, One of my friends, Victor, he I gave him like a very brief synopsis of the plot and what I wanted the plot to look like. And he was like, okay, that's a great idea. The one thing is, I would change this. I would make it so Cecil is the funny guy and Spot is kind of the more straight man of the duo. Because originally my plan was to have Cecil be a very kind of stoic, kind of like played for seriousness kind of character, and I wanted Spot to be kind of like a little more wacky than he ended up being. I
Yeah.
think there's a little bit of that in the prologue of the game. People
They
compare it to
do,
Roger
yeah.
Rabbit.
They do like when they
Yeah,
start becoming warm towards each other. They do riff on each other, like they
yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
nice. But yeah, I would say that's probably the better spot because
Yeah,
just there's
absolutely.
more screen time of Cecil.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, and so every day, I thank the gods up in heaven or whatever for that input from my friend Victor, because had he not said that, the game would have been much worse off. So yeah. Sorry, what was your original question? I kind of got caught up in my own diatribe.
No worries, no worries. There's no like strict rules here. But the question was, how long did it take from conception
Yeah.
to official release?
Yeah, so that would be got the idea in 2016, released in early 2025. So that would be almost a decade. Actual development, actual like in the engine development started in 2020 when
Okay.
I met my original programmer on 4chan, who reached out to me, being like, "Hey man, I've seen you posting your ideas, incessantly about this monster game. I feel really bad for you, so I'm gonna help your pathetic ass out."
Damn.
And he was on the team for I think a solid 2 or maybe 3 years. Eventually, we parted ways due to just like kind of creative differences. And I met my current guy, who we know as Greasy McBeef.
Okay. Respect.
Who also, yeah, no, that's sorry. I assumed you saw the Steam page or whatever, but yeah, no, he's met my current guy, who also reached out to me, which was a godsend because I was dreading the nights upon nights I'd have to spend on Fiverr looking for a new guy. No, he actually came to me. He was like, "Hey, I heard your old guy left. I've been following your project for a while. I'd love to help out."
Well, I mean,
And that was like, and to this day, I still don't know how the fuck that happened. I'm very like, I'm still a bit shocked about the fact that someone actually offered to come to me. Words cannot really encapsulate how grateful I am for that. But yeah, so to answer your question, concepts 9 years, development proper 5 years,
all right.
current programmer around 3.
Well, that's super crazy, man. I myself have developed something with similar time, so it's a wild wide, oh my fuck, a wild ride, you know, especially with something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. And I'm
absolutely.
sure like there's times where like plenty ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I'm sure you're just as happy as I am that this thing came out and is as it's very positive, right? Like even on Steam right now, it's
Dude,
I'm pretty sure it's
dude,
at a
yeah.
mostly positive.
The words cannot express how much in disbelief I am that the game ever ended up actually getting finished. You know, it was we cut it really, really close too. Like the final animation, the final attack animation, I think got finished 2 hours out to release.
Damn.
It was, yeah, it was pretty gnarly for both of us.
What move is that?
I think it was one of the big ones. Like there was this, there was one of the moves I don't think you ever actually ended up getting access to, so I won't spoil it. But yeah,
Okay, fair enough. There was a lot of shit. I will admit, there's a lot of shit that I didn't do just because I just kind of
yeah,
wanted to.
no.
God damn it! I just wanted to
Of all the people, yeah. Sorry, go
No,
on.
no, please finish your thought.
Of all the people I've seen beat the game, I think your playtime was the quickest.
Yeah, I did try to explore. I think I did a lot of exploring. There was a lot of stuff where I'm like, okay, I clearly need to go back to this. I need to come back to this, and then I just didn't do that. So that's fair.
No, but for what it's worth, you know, it's probably for the best that you tried to make your playthrough a little bit more streamlined.
Well,
You know, otherwise,
I just
I
wanted to
wouldn't
know
have
this.
seen.
I just wanted to know the story, and my brain gets
Sure.
overwhelmed really fast when I don't really know what to do in a game, which was demonstrated early on in the playthrough when I did the first like Tyrnarch's like sacrificial statue thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was so lost for like an hour just trying to figure out where the hell I was and like what actually like
Yeah.
those things do. So I kind of learned from that, and I don't like feeling that way. So I kind of just played the game to my leisure. Which, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to, probably not on camera, but I am probably going to play it again. Probably not right away because
Sure.
I just tons of shit get in the way. But
Yeah,
I'm definitely
you
going to
need some
be
time to process it, actually.
100%. I'm definitely going to be doing a second playthrough, probably just on like my own though, trying to figure
Yeah,
out
yeah,
like
yeah.
what are the best monsters, try to actually figure out how the fusion works because
For sure,
it
for sure.
still kind of confuses me. I'm not gonna lie, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's probably a problem on me, not you. Don't worry. Sometimes I just don't understand how mechanics work.
no sweat, buddy. All good.
Were you the main writer of the game, like the dialogue?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Because
Some of the stuff was co-written by several people actually. Kind of proofread my stuff, but I was the main like concept artist for like the the vast majority of the monster dialogue was your boy. Um, yeah, no, that's there were like one or two lines that like I got suggested saying like, hey, you know, maybe this would be funnier if you added this. Um, yeah, no, it was the most of the writing was yours truly.
all right, because one of the best positives about the game was the fact that the dialogue actually made me laugh. And a lot of games that are like, oh, this game's really funny, like for example, Deadpool or whatever. It's for the most part kind of cringe comedy. It's just like
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like a stand-up you like but you don't love, and you're just like nodding the whole time and you're not actually laughing. And you're like, oh, that was a good, that was a good stand-up. A lot of games are kind of like that. This was the first time where I'm like, this game is pretty fucking funny. I actually laughed out loud.
Yeah, no, that's very much something I feel like a lot of a lot of like indie game writers, not just indie game writers, a lot of like game writers in general. Like this is especially true of like shit like Borderlands. I feel
Yes,
no,
yes.
but I feel like the guys who write those games may be a bit too
Out of touch.
their mentality is towards life and the world and to writing is very Californian, for lack of a
Yes,
better
yeah.
word.
I
To,
would
like, an
say
extent,
after
like-
after two, so like starting with the pre-sequel, the comedy kind of took a nosedive and it just wasn't the same anymore.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. I like Borderlands
Yeah.
3. I don't think that game's funny at all.
No,
It's not like they don't
Absolutely.
try. It's just like, okay, I just want to shoot the guns,
Like,
please.
in a way, they're trying a bit too hard.
Yeah. Meanwhile, 2. Granted, I was a kid when I played 2, but 2 was fucking hilarious. I
You
think
know, a game that I really.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No. Go ahead, please.
I think the funniest game I ever played was one of those like Mario and Luigi games for the Game Boy.
Oh,
You ever played any of those?
Yeah, I played
Like,
most of them. So if
Superstar
it's for the
Saga.
Game Boy, that must be Superstar Saga, like the first one.
Superstar Saga, yeah, that game was fucking hilarious. I loved that line towards the end of the game where like the main bad guy's minion is talking and he's like, "You are but a caricature of a cartoon drawn by a kid who is stupid."
Yeah,
I was like, that is some grade A die. It's like not every day you play a Mario game and see them making fun of
Yeah.
autistic kids.
Yeah, it's just the right level of meta
Exactly, yeah.
where they know, like, yeah, that's really nice. Where they kind of make fun of themselves a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so in the chat, someone, because chat's asking a bunch of dumb questions, but there are some really good ones. Favorite game, current favorite game, and favorite game growing up.
Currently, my favorite game of all time is the main inspiration for Mirrored Soul, which was Shin Megami Tensei Soul Hackers.
Yep.
Played that game at a very dark time in my teenage life. It kind of became like a core facet of my identity for possibly I want to say for like a few years, but if I'm being realistic, probably till this day. My favorite game as a kid or as a teenager, I think, was Super Metroid. I was one of those obnoxious retro game kids. I was like, would play a lot of just like fucking old school Nintendo stuff and brag about it. Also, really very big fan of Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
That game kind of like Squaresoft in its prime was unbeatable. Like in my opinion, like that they made some of the best goddamn RPGs, you know.
Yep.
To this like what else big fan of Cave Story. That was one of my favorite indie games.
That was the first game that made me cry.
Cave Story, really.
Cave Story is depressing, dude. It's a very depressing
Yeah, you
game.
know, like I've seen it described as like Heart of Darkness with bunny people.
Yeah.
It's like the fucking this whole slavery storyline. Like, yeah, no, that was some.
Well, and like, I
heartstring-
mean, spoiler, but like everyone in the game like fucking dies at some point in the game. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like it's like Game of Thrones. Like, love no one, no
for
one's
sure,
safe.
for sure. Yeah, don't get attached. Yeah,
And
No, that's
everyone
true.
is an adorable, cute bunny person, and eventually they die, or you have to kill them. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm
But yeah, what
surprised because at least from my eyes, playing Mirrored Soul, it would be very apparent that a very obvious inspiration would be Earthbound or like the Mother series.
Mother 3 was one of my favorite games growing up. That was definitely an inspiration, especially in terms of the art style.
Yes, in the combat and everything. So I just wanted to make sure on that point.
No, the the game is very much not without conscious Mother influence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Some tangentially kind of some other Mother inspired games like Off, of course, as well. And what else?
Undertale by proxy, technically.
Technically by proxy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
God, I remember when that game was all the fucking rage.
Yeah, I remember being in high school too.
The thing about like Undertale in specific is that like when I was playing it, I couldn't help but like just groan at like literally every single line. And looking back, I remember it as being brilliant. But then like on like replays, I'm just like, this sucks. This dialogue fucking sucks. But then like when I remember it, it's like that was brilliant. I don't know.
I do not have that feeling. I don't remember
Fair
the
enough.
dialogue being like amazing. I just liked how like self-aware they were with like the meta powers, like with like the LVE, like love is like level of violent, like all like the not like I can see the player, but like meta as in they take they swap all classic gaming mechanics on its
For sure.
axis.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
that
Okay,
sense.
okay. I think actually you just cracked the code. I think I realized what it is. Like the when the game's being like serious and hype and stuff, I thought it was
Yes.
Kino of the highest
Like
caliber.
first time playing Undyne level 2, whatever it's called.
I thought you were gonna make some other comparison. No, but yeah, for sure. Like Undyne, the end. You know, I think when the game was being serious, it was fucking like absolute cinema.
And
And
then
when it
when
was
it
trying,
was
and when it was
goofy, it
trying to be,
was
yeah,
pretty
when it was trying to be
annoying.
goofy, well, like when it was trying to be funny, it just came across like some fucking like
Which,
Tumblr
as,
Homestuck kind of shit. It's like,
as far as I
okay,
remember, there was only like two instances. Once was like when you meet the skeleton twins at the very beginning, and like
yeah, Sans
and like
Virus,
and then like Metaton, right? Was like the only other instance where it was like kind of goofy.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Everything else, I think, was like either like neutral or like very serious, which I think is a
Yeah,
good when you're going to be that hammy. I think that's a really good
no, yeah,
juxtaposition.
yeah. Of course, Mirrored Soul's script was originally going to be a little bit darker. There was originally going to be a few more like gut punch moments, but like when I like ironed out the script and stuff, I realized a lot of it kind of just didn't work,
Mm.
and so the entire game kind of ended up being very kind of comedic.
Yeah.
Which I don't know whether that worked to its detriment or not. I feel like I could have stood to make some of the scenarios a little bit more serious.
Well, like give
Um,
some examples. Like, what do you mean by that? If you don't
the
mind sharing it, is
Okay, so the true final boss who you never encountered.
fair enough.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yeah. There was originally gonna be like I'm just gonna full disclosure. Cecil was originally gonna like there was originally gonna be kind of like a Persona 3 moment where Cecil like sacrifices himself to bridge to like close the gap between the human and monster worlds.
Okay.
Basically Cecil was gonna die at the end.
Hmm.
And I realized not only was that absolutely fucking pants on head retarded, but it wasn't gonna work in the context of the story either. Like I didn't think I like there was like with my original draft that like the whole thing with the delirium and stuff actually only came up. That was actually only conceptualized actually midway through development. Um, there was originally going to be this thing where the save points were all like interconnected, and they were all part of this massive system of caves.
Oh.
And there was some like shit with souls and stuff. And like if you go into like at the end of the game, you went into the cave and have to like kind of defeat your own mirror image self. And after you do that, it's like you kind of become this messiah martyr figure. It's just a whole bunch of convoluted fucking shit. There was the actual final scenario, the true final scenario, which again you never encountered. The actual one we ended up using was kind of similar, but it was a little bit more. Became a little bit more self-contained.
All right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I did figure, by the
That was
way,
a
I
lot.
never said it out loud. I did figure there was like a super final boss, okay? Because as I said in beating it, I felt like the third act was missing something. So I did figure that I'd missed something, and I need to make that clear.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, no, Drake is definitely not the game's final obstacle if you go for a completionist run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about like, because one thing that I like to look at is like the designs of the character. So like the conception you said took like around like a decade. How long did
Sure.
it take before you got like most of the character designs? Before you got the Detective Cecil done? You said Spot was like the first character that
was
you
the
had
first character
initialized. But like,
initialized.
how much time would you say did you give like each character? And by character, I mean like Cecil because he has his full portrait design, and like most of the monsters because everyone else is just like a normal looking human. Not to be insulting, but like the monsters, for example, they like because they have like some of them have like they got like custom movements and everything. So how long does like each monster take on average?
So the vast majority of the monsters in the first place, like the vast majority of the monster designs I had initially conceptualized were actually margin doodles that I just doodled in margins in class. And then translated into sprite form. I have like a few of them saved on my laptop. Actually, there's a few of the like original concept sketches, saved. If you would like me to send them to you,
Sure,
Just see if I can
I would love to put them up in post.
yeah. God, where the hell was this? Trying to find it. Hold on.
Do you have a personal favorite monster? Just from like your own personal bias?
My personal favorite monster. That's a great question. It might be that wizard dude in the Mirror Lord's castle.
Wiznerd?
Wizard, yeah. Like I love his shit-eating grin and his like whole fucking like I very much designed him with the intention of being a character who pisses players off. I think my all-time favorite design is probably Saguarado. you know, the little the fucking sorry, pardon my French. The cactus desperado cowboy dude in the Desert Kingdom. I think he's
Yeah.
probably my proudest creation just in how much it works.
Yep.
Like I feel like everything about his design kind of just came
I
naturally to
have
me.
him. Where is he?
You know, there's a reason. Like, there's, I think I'm either it might have been in your stream or a different stream I was just watching. It was like I mentioned to someone that that was why I gave them so much preferential treatment. Like why there's a whole dungeon in the Desert Kingdom devoted to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
Which, in my opinion, I think the game could have done a little bit more with, personally.
for sure, yeah, probably,
Yeah. Speaking of that dungeon, the puzzles.
yeah,
I am not dumb, but this game made me feel dumb fairly often. And there was even one where I had to draw a map of the area to figure out the puzzle. It was where you had
yeah.
to
You're
hit all
talking about the
switches.
one. You're talking about the one in the dungeon, right? In the desert dungeon.
Yes, and I literally had to go into Paint and I had to draw out everything to figure that fucking puzzle out, which made me feel smart, but doing it made me feel not smart. So I actually wasn't, because for the most part, when I go into a game like this, I played the demo for it like a year back, thanks to like Gym Leader Ed, for example. He was my like he was my news channel before I sought shit out on my own. So I didn't know that this game was like very puzzle heavy. I'm glad I didn't know that, because it might have deterred me away from it. Because I don't love puzzles in games. Not like this, because again, they make me feel dumb. Even though I will say they are very gratifying to figure out. So I gotta give kudos to you there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I think I might have gone a little overboard in the puzzles for sure.
Oh no, I
I think I
wouldn't
may
say
have what was it called? A lot of them made a lot more sense in my head than they ended up kind of making in practice, which I can completely own.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, just because they made me feel a particular way, I think the puzzles are good. I think that no more, no less. And if anything, the the obstacles were a lot more challenging. Like the stupid, sorry, but like the dumb fucking, the red buttons in the last area that deal like 400 fucking damage, and if you hit 2 of them, you die.
Yeah,
And then with the mirror
no,
shit, I'm like God damn it, you know. And just
there's
because
definitely-
I bitch at something, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it frustrates me. And when
Yeah,
it's
of
the
course.
final dungeon, my rule of thumb is if it's the final, which granted it's not, and I have brought to you gripes I have for the actual final dungeon that I experienced, but you're leading up to the Mirror Lord, which the whole game kind of determines is like this is the big final boss, right?
Yeah.
In that case, I think it's completely fine to make it as frustrating or long or difficult as possible. I've always been like I play a lot of the Shin Megami. I forget the company who's making them right now, but like the Persona Metaphor. I just beat Metaphor the other day.
Yeah.
I'm used to final bosses being awful in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure.
So I always like respect final bosses or like final dungeons being like a lot, and you know, granted, Mirror Lord is not spoilers, but it's not the final boss. But Mirror Lord was also a very fun fight in his own right. A lot of the bosses, I will say, a lot of the bosses are really good. A lot of the bosses are very fair.
Amazing.
Which is crazy because statistically, there's usually like 1 or 2 where like, oh my god, this gimmick sucks. You know, a lot of bosses in a lot of games usually have like a gimmick that are just like, I don't even want to deal with this. No, I will say all the phases of this game, difficulty wise, I think this game is really good. Pardon the coughing. But and that's enough. That's kind of all I can think of without just like mindlessly aiming on. But chat is not shutting up about it. Are you excited for GTA 6? For context, I went on a bitching tree and I had an argument with my chat saying that you shouldn't be excited for GTA 6 because it's not coming out until like 3 fucking years. Are you excited? Are you excited for GTA 6? Am I the minority here?
Yeah, I hate to disappoint chat, but I don't really feel that strongly about it one way or the other
Thank
myself.
you. Right?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's I
Is
remember I played GTA 5 on release. My uncle especially got really into it, which is kind of funny because I think the last game he played before that was like Pong or some shit. You know, as an old man. Uh, he got really addicted to GTA 5 and like eventually started to like the game. I think more than I did, and would kind of not really shut the fuck up about it. And so that kind of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to GTA.
all right,
I was
fair
like, I
enough.
was kind of like you with chat. I was like, okay, you know, it's cool, but I feel like I don't think it's not all that, you know. So I don't know. Uh,
For me, the biggest is like the control scheme's awful. I hate
yeah,
I despise the Rockstar control scheme. I think it's miserable. I shouldn't be compelled to button map everything the moment I boot up a game.
yeah, no, that's actually a valid criticism that didn't really occur to me.
Yeah, because Rockstar decides that they can just develop the wrong way how to play a video game and just go against what every other game wants to do. So it's like having like a rarity system in like an RPG, but like purple is common. It's like, no, there are certain rules you need to obey, and that's not one of them. But
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, for
But anyway, yeah, I don't really, the show's not really too long because I'm not really good at interviews. I'm just
oh no,
casual riffing.
you've been a perfectly fine host.
Thank you, thank you.
No, I
I
think
try
this
to.
is really natural conversation.
Um, chat's super pissed right now. That's fine. But yeah, this is the first Daunt Talks I actually did it on stream, but that's just mostly because our schedules would align better if I was on stream this time. But thank you very much for taking time out of your way. I am
Anytime. It's my pleasure.
I'm very eager, despite not starting it right away, a new playthrough to get the final boss and try to get all the secrets because there was a lot that I intentionally didn't do. I didn't do like any, and I steered away from doing. I don't. This is a yes or no question. You don't have to say anything more than that. But like, are like the sacrificial totems where you have to like feed monsters to? Is that required for the final ending, or is that just to like skip through dungeons?
Um, I don't think it's required for the final ending, but they are required if you want to if you want to, I think, collect every monster.
Okay, that's fair. I did that actually didn't even occur to me because there was a lot of shit that I know I missed, but that's what
Yeah, it is also
happens when you
really,
play blind and you don't look anything up.
I mean, that's the most magical way to experience a game.
It
So,
is, and I'm on stream, so and I record it, so there's nothing I can't hide.
all right, chat.
Yep. Okay. Real quick, what's your last question? If it's dumb, we're ending it, and if it's interesting, then I'll ask it.
Fucking, what's the dumbest shit you've ever done when you were drunk?
Oh, there's actually a really funny story here. Um, it me and my high school friends, just because I very soon after high school I had to move provinces. I'm Canadian, so like I had to move
Yeah, for
states.
sure, for sure.
We don't actually stay in. How do you, I'm not? I don't want to know that question. Red, stop.
What did they say? What did they say? Lay it
How
on
do
me.
you access a secret boss? Like I don't want to ask that because I don't want to know that.
Well, you know, the best thing about that is either way, I'm not fucking telling. So,
Exactly. I didn't ask it the first time you asked it either because it's a dumb question. But the dumbest thing I did while drunk.
how do I beat the game?
Yeah.
How do I unlock the secret? Blah 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 blah. What's the code to? No, fucking, I'm not giving shit away.
Yeah.
Do your stuff.
So the dumbest thing I did while I was drunk. It was a high school party
Yeah.
with my close friends because I was we were the cool nerds club, which means we did everything together, which means I didn't get invited to any actual parties. But it was a Easter something. Easter, it was an Easter celebration.
Yeah.
Me was like very plastered, and we were laying down because we were in like the basement living room, which is like the giant foyer, because one of our friends who doesn't claim to be rich was rich and basically had a mansion.
As all rich people.
Exactly. And it was like pitch black. We all were just starting to lay down, getting quiet, and I'm like, what is that over there? It looks like I have glasses, and I didn't have glasses, and I was very drunk at the time. and I didn't
Yeah.
care for getting my classes. But I just looked over across the room, and I just saw like a bright splotch. I don't have glasses on. I don't have definition. When you don't have great eyesight, everything is blurry, right?
For sure.
So I'm like, what is that across the room? It just looks like moonlight, because there was a tiny ass crack of a window above us.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, maybe there's just enough time, like, and just at the right angle where the moon is. So like light was shining through, and everyone was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "There's moonlight right there across the room. It's like on the wall. Why is it so blue? It looks weird." No one is comprehending what the fuck is going on. This goes on for 40 fucking minutes. I'm really abbreviating this story.
I've had moments like that.
This whole thing is recorded and it will never see the internet.
So you spent like 45 minutes trying to make a hypothesis about like the moon?
Yes, and I'm like, it's shiny, it's blue, it's the middle of the fucking night. That has to be
like,
moonlight.
And like in your head, you're fucking Socrates.
Exactly.
You're like, guys,
what it
the
was,
moon
what it
consolidated in, yeah, gone.
was it was technically moonlight, but it wasn't, because it was just light reflecting from outside onto a fucking pizza box. So I was looking at a greasy ass pizza box thinking it was moonlight, and I'm like, you guys don't understand, it's moonlight. It's like Lord of the Rings over here. It's fucking shiny and shit. It's moonlight. And they're like,
That's pretty
they're like,
funny.
and then at this point they're complimenting, like they're thinking really hard about our friendship at that point. Oh god, what have we done? But yeah, that is probably one of the dumbest things. I also tried to have a staring contest with the Mad Hatter poster from the Wizard, not Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton movies.
Who won?
I'd say it's fairly. We called it a draw, personally.
It was a draw. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know, I think we both blinked at the same time. I couldn't see it because I blinked, but I'm pretty sure he blinked at the same time. So I'm pretty sure it's a draw to this day, and I'm willing to fight people over that.
Fair enough. Well,
Mama didn't raise no bitch, and no bitch loses to a poster. Okay.
I'll take your word for it, man. Cool.
Red, I'm not asking that either. Carter, not either. No, I don't. I only asked the one feature of the game that I wanted to ask. I'm not.
I'm very excited to read this chat after I'm done with this call. I'm dreading it too, but
they're like,
excited.
Without spoiling anything, how do we access the final boss? It's like, no, that
you have to delete System 32.
Yeah, Alt F4. But anyway, thank you very much. This usually goes on for how long it goes. I really like your game, and I hope you make more games, and I hope I'm there to play more games.
You know, you can bet your bottom dollar. I'm already kind of drafting a new project, but
hell yeah, say more. If you need a sneak peek, then I can be a game tester for sure.
Fuck yeah! All right.
Yep.
Well, catch you on the flip side.
Yep. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you had a wonderful time. Hope you have a wonderful time. Until next time we meet. Hope you all have a fucking day. Peace.